What's up, guys? I'm Rhett. Welcome back to Lawn Insider. I think it's pretty safe to say that most folks with Bermuda lawns have officially kicked off their spring season. There's probably a few stragglers up near the transition zones, but especially if you live here in Texas around where I do, we are kind of kicked into high gear right now. And I've started to see the same questions start to pop up on my YouTube and Instagram and even a couple of emails. And I wanted to cover one of those in particular today. And that one deals with if you have an infestation of weeds in your lawn, do you want to treat for those weeds first, or do you want to put out a fertilizer to push your existing turf first, or even a combination of the two with like a weed and feed product? So if that's a problem you're facing, stick around. And here's a shot of my own front lawn right now. Overall, pretty good. I wasn't able to get out and mow as often as I wanted to over this past week because we had baseball during the week and we had a tournament over the weekend. So I did have a little bit of scalping on my last mow in this area, kind of the same problem that we've been having to start off the season and in the same spot. But I do think that I'll probably be able to mow that out because I'm off this week. It's spring break. It's kind of a period of celebration at my house, actually, because my wife and I are both teachers. And you know how teachers look forward to their breaks, and you're always exhausted mentally and physically by the time you get to them. So we're going to try to spend a little bit more time out in the lawn and a lot more time with the family and really take advantage of this break. But another question that I get asked the last couple of weeks is if this tree right here is dead. And it's not. This one is actually an elm tree, and I definitely need to trim it. And this one is a maple tree. And for whatever reason, the maple tree is just coming back way later than the elm tree this year. But you can see it has buds, and I've scratched a branch and it's green underneath. So the tree is alive. I don't really spend too much time worrying about the trees because, to be honest, I wish I didn't have any trees at all. If you know anything about Bermuda, Bermuda does not like shade. So unfortunately, in the not too distant future, those trees are probably going to cause some problems with the grass. Here's a quick look at the backyard. You can see the diagonal stripes that we laid in our last mow. And over here by the house, in the area that was coming out of dormancy more slowly due to this shadow, it has started to green up pretty significantly. We're probably at like 95% now. So let's go ahead and try to tackle the question that we posed at the top of the video. With a weed infested lawn, is it better to go ahead and treat the weeds initially, or should you be putting out a fertilizer and trying to push your existing lawn, or taking a combination approach with like a weed and feed product? I want to start off by saying, regardless of which method that you end up choosing, the first thing you need to do is mow frequently. So if you have a ton of weeds in your lawn, you probably want to mow with the grass catcher on or with your bag and get rid of those clippings. If you don't, then you could get away with mulching. But either way, you want to be mowing frequently, and that's going to help out your grass with weeds probably more than any product could. Now, if you have a complete salad bar in your yard and you have to use a blanket treatment to kill all those weeds, you have to treat the entire lawn. In that case, I would probably go ahead and treat the weeds initially. If you can get away with spot treating your lawn, then I think that you're okay pushing the lawn initially and then coming back like in a month once the temperatures are more consistently high and coming out with your post-emergent herbicide then. So it does kind of depend on your level of infestation. I know different people are going to have different tolerance levels when it comes to the number of weeds in their lawn, but those are the approaches I would take in those particular situations. As far as weed and feed products, I'm never going to, well, I'm most likely, never say never, but I'm more than likely never going to suggest you use a weed and feed product just because I've never used them myself. So since I don't have any experience with them, that's not going to be something that I'm going to suggest that y'all utilize in your lawns. I'm not saying there's no such thing as a good weed and feed product. It's just something that I myself am not comfortable with. So I would stick with one of those first two approaches. Now, as far as my weed killer recommendation, I personally use a product called Celsius. It is my broad spectrum, so it probably could wipe out 85 to 90% of the weeds we see in our lawn. I bought a big bottle a few years ago. I know that most people wouldn't want to make that big initial investment going in because it is pretty pricey. But a good thing about Celsius is that recently they have come out with these little smaller packets, and they're cheaper. They're obviously not going to treat as much as the bottle, but most people aren't going to need the full bottle to treat their lawns anyway. So that's an option. Another option, obviously, is just to go to the big box store and I'm going to give you the same advice that BYD gives his audience on Bermuda Grass Central. There's a shout out to him, and that would be to find a Spectracide product that just lists the highest number of weeds that it kills on the label. So look at the labels, pick the one that says it kills the most weeds, read the instructions, apply it just how it says on the label, and that should wipe out most of the weeds you see in your lawn. As far as when to make these applications, it is going to depend on where you're located. But if you're looking at your temperatures and you start seeing the average highs consistently being in the 75 or 80 degree range, you know that you are good to go ahead and put out one of these products, because these weed killers do need a little bit of heat to be effective. But once you get into that around 80 degree mark, they should be good to go. All right, y'all, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a like. If you're enjoying the content and you want to continue to see more of it, hit that black subscribe button below the video. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those in the comment section below. I'll see y'all again soon. Lawn Insider, out.